right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening. And I've got something crazy to paint for y'all. I love doing these mashups. I'm continually looking for different mashups to do because they're fun. They make me laugh as I look to do them. I hope they make you all fun or have some fun too with what you're doing. I would encourage you to do something funny, whatever it is that makes you laugh and have some fun with your paintings. Today we're doing this, which is kind of a cross between a kingfisher bird, one of the favorite things I like to paint, and a green tree frog. I hope when you see it on first and the initial look, you just go, oh cool, that's a kingfisher, that's great. And then you look and you go, why does it have 4 legs? I don't understand that, but it makes you laugh and it lets you have a good time and allows you to see it maybe a second or a third time, the image, and have some fun with it. So we've got a few things to do, but first of all, I'm going to start off with the paper that I'm using. This is a nice big square of Baohang Artist grade paper. It allows me to paint something that's nice and big. That's all well and good. This is cold press paper. Oh yeah, I've worn them off this one. I forgot. I'm using my King Art brushes here, 90-20 series. If anybody has any questions about those, happy to answer those. And then over on my right hand side over here are my M-gram paints. And you just give me a second. What I'm seeing over on Twitch is a frozen screen, so that's bothering me a little bit. No, it's back up and right. I should say I'm here primarily on YouTube, also restreaming over on the Twitch platform. Blue E Mom is here. Can you say hi to my kiddo Vera? Hello, Vera. I'm glad you love to paint and draw. Painting and drawing is so good for you. Helps develop your brain, helps develop your thought process, helps develop your imagination. So please don't ever stop drawing and painting. And who knows, maybe you'll be better than me in a short amount of time, which probably is a low bar to get over. But I hope you have a great time with that. Okay, now, I'm not even sure where I want to start with this. I think what I want to start with is I'm just going to start from the top and I'm going to come down. I know with kingfishers that I like to start with a very light layer of one of my favorite colors here, which is turquoise. Look at how beautiful that color is. We'll use that beautiful color as the basis for our bird here. And I should say, there's one sheet with these kingfishers that's really nice if you're trying to paint one yourself. And that is that in between all of the major color groups on here, in between this blue in most places, and in between the oranges that are here, and in between the oranges and the whites and the blues, and all of those different areas, there are usually black lines. And so you can paint right up to the line. Maybe you go a little bit over, it's okay. But you've always got a little buffer area that you can draw upon if you've made a slight mistake somewhere along the line. And I'm just going to drop, I'm painting, what am I painting? Wet onto dry here. I'm using a fairly small area so I can do it without pre-wetting the area that I'm painting into. And then we're going to get a little color in here. Cool, just like that. And then I'm going to drop in just ever so slight amount of neutral tint right along the edge of a couple of these areas, just so we have some kind of an indication when we go back where this darker color is going to be. Bluey Mom, that's fine. I am glad that you have a child that loves to paint and draw, or draw and paint. I guess that would be a more appropriate order that you would do it in. I used to draw and paint a little bit when I was well, more draw. And then at some point I kind of got out of it. I just kind of thought, well, this is not anything I'm ever going to do with my life, and I should probably get into different endeavors. And I kind of wish I had continued with my art a little bit more growing up. I think I would have been better now, certainly, had I stuck with it, and I may have made different career choices along the way. But excuse me, in my family growing up, I guess the arts, I'm going to say it that way, the arts were probably not focused on quite as much as in some families. I hope that in my family now we focus on it a bit more. I'm certain we do. My wife is an actual artist and she's very good. I do this and I think I'm good, but mostly I just have fun with what I'm doing. So I'm glad that you have someone who wants to do it. I'm glad that you are supporting of that. That tickles me and makes me feel good. And who knows? Maybe Vera will want to grow up and do a lot of watercolor painting. That would make me feel good too. I love when people like to watercolor paint, to share the passions that I have for things that I have. Okay, cool. So there you go. There's my first layer on his head here, or on her head. I guess his head, her head. A quick go around to get just a little bit of color on here. And now I'm going to move on to the next color group. And for me, I'm going to stick with this blue range. And I'm going to start up here underneath his beak. I almost said bill. It's not, even though he likes water. It's not a water bird. And I'm going to come down his back and down his wing here. And let me show you in a little larger fashion here. Oh, Edie. Oh my, Edie Sedgwick. I don't know why I was pulling Diesel out of there. Diesel. Edie Sedgwick, hello. Welcome. Let's see, what am I going to do? I was just going to show you this, and so you can see that you can see that big blue stripe that goes from just under his eye and under his beak there and all down his back and his wing. That's what we're going to hit right now. We're going to get back to here. And Sudike is here. I'm waiting for Sudike to go, what is going on with this painting? Sudike keeps me in keeps me in check here a little bit, as I like to live on the wild side and do some crazier things. Sudike is here to just kind of say, seriously, what are you doing tonight? But again, here I'm just going in a little wet into dry here. I think I can do this whole area if I do it quickly without having to pre-wet this area. I'm going to give it a shot anyways. I'm going to have to move a little bit more quickly now that I'm saying that. Let's see, this is going to come down, I don't know, bro, kind of like that. That looks pretty good. Carrie Hall is here. Hey, Michael, Mods and Chags. From the state of Australia. Great to see you from the great state, the great country of Australia. The biggest island out there. Is that right? I think that's right? Carrie, glad that you are here. Welcome. Anybody who's new, Edie, I'm not sure I've seen you before. Bluey Mom, I know you've been here before, but I got a couple of rules on my channel for chat, and the rules are, please ask. Throw it out there, ask. I love answering questions. I like talking while I'm painting. So many times I will start painting and just get carried away and talk as I'm going. And then I'll go, wait a minute, why am I doing that? And why don't I do something different? And I'll talk out a situation as I'm painting, and you guys can hear it in real time. And if you guys ask questions while I'm painting, you'll hear me talk out the solution to it while I'm painting. And what's more important than that is, if we're talking about the things that you guys think are important, then you're going to get more out of this. You're going to have more fun. I'm going to see that everybody's having more fun. I'll have more fun, and we'll all have a better time here together. The downside of not asking questions is you're going to have to listen to me a lot on my own. And it looks like we got somebody from Twitch over here. Hello, Ross Bounty, Ross Bounty, Rose Bounty, Ross Bounty, another Australian over there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you guys are able to join. I don't even know what time is it over there. It is just past 7 o'clock local time for me. Right, I'm in the Pacific time zone. I start at 7 o'clock Pacific. I can't even imagine. It's tomorrow in Australia. I say that not knowing at all. I'm thinking it's tomorrow in Australia. It must be already. I believe you all are on the other side of the international date line. And I'll say it again for anybody here just joining, or anybody over on Twitch. I'm just looking to see if I'm painting this even close to right or not. If I am, that's awesome. If I'm not, we'll fix it. We'll fix it on the next go-round of the next layer of paint here. I think I'm working in the right direction. The rules are ask questions. Let's have a good time. And let's talk about some of the things you guys all want to talk about rather than just the things I want to talk about, although I'm happy to talk about the things I want to talk about. This is supposed to be, for me anyways, interactive. I love the conversation. What kind of paper is that, please? Edie says, is that Bristol board? No, this is, in fact, I just cut some of it. This is a larger sheet. This is from a roll of Baohang professional grade paper. I had a roll of it. Let me see. I can probably grab the roll if you want to see what it was like. But this is a Baohang professional grade. This is about, all right, a 15 by 15 inch square. Roughly a 15 by 15 inch square. Might be a little different than that, but that's basically what it is. And I gotta work fast. I'm starting to dry here. I'm just trying to drop in a little bit of color. I don't want to cover up all of the lighter areas here. I want to keep some of those lighter areas, but I also want to put in a few darker areas. If you've watched me before, I try to talk about the benefits of leaving lights and darks, and then sometimes I don't actually do it myself. 12 p.m. here. It's Thursday, so it's just afternoon in Australia. It's crazy. That's crazy. So far away. So many time zones away. But that's cool. You know what? It helps to make the world a little bit smaller of a place when we can get together a little bit on a format like this. So anyway, thank you over here. And wait a minute, Rose Bundy said it's 11:42 where Ross Bundy is, and it is definitely the 14th instead of the 13th where I'm at. I'm never gonna keep Never going to keep that time straight. All right, there we go. There's a little bit of color on here. Anything else? My paint is starting to dry up a little bit. It's getting harder to move it around a little bit. Let's see. Who else? Ooh. Vonda. Is Vonda here? Vonda. Over there's Vonda. Vonda is here. Hello, Vonda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, what else do we have? Do we have any more blue here that we can work on? And why did I drip water right there? We've got this major bit of blue, this major bit of blue. You know what? We've got a little bit down here on the tail. Let's take a look at that real quick. You can see it just kind of hanging out here a little bit. Very light. I think what we'll do is we'll paint the ends of the feathers underneath the log. You can see just kind of underneath the log, there's some feathers hanging out there. We're going to give a really light bit of blue there, and we'll come back and get those darks a little bit later. So really light on this color. I'm flipping this around. I do this a lot. I'm unapologetic about moving my page as I paint. The only thing I have to do is, see this little bit here? I'm fantastic about putting whatever this bit of my palm is right on other colors that I've painted. So I'm going to try to be careful and not do that. Right, again, putting this on wet into dry, or wet on dry, however you want to say that. Just dropping some color on here. And this is going to dry, about 20 to 30% lighter than it looks when I put it on here. So keeping that in mind, I can kind of keep this as dark as I want. There's some shadow areas down here. And just as long as I get a little bit of color on here, I'm pretty much happy with it. The only thing I don't want to do is allow a hard line to get in here. And I should say, this week, oh look, I'm all upside down now. This week we are using this better paper, this Baohang paper. I very much like it. I have some more on the way, by the way. I just ordered some more rolls of it. Let me get the roll. I'll show you what it is. Whoop, that's the wrong side. This is the paper that I'm using. If you can see, maybe I got to go this way. Ooh, now it's upside down. There you go. Can you see that? Artist watercolor paper from Baohang. There it is. It comes with a nice pair of gloves in there, and it's all in a roll. And what I do is, and I do it right on this page, I put it down, face down, right, the painting surface down on my work surface here. Then I take a spray bottle and I spritz the back of it, and I put some gator board on it and hold it down for about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Really, it's not very long. And I take the gator board off, and when it comes out, it's dry, or not dry, it's straight, is what I mean, right? It's mostly straight. And then I can set it off to dry somewhere, and then I can move on to the next one. And it works pretty well, and I end up with something that's pretty flat, and I'm really pretty happy with it. Vonda says bird or frog or biog. I was calling this the Kingfrogsher. The Kingfrogsher? I don't have a better name for it. The Kingfrogsher. I'm open to different names, though. I'm open to different names. Getting back to paper. Now, last week I did say, I need to move this up a little bit so you guys can see. Look at the tail here. Last week? Yeah, last week I used paper that I really was not happy with, and I kind of put it away. And I said, I don't have any paper. Well, yeah, no, I found some paper. I didn't realize I had some good paper. It's uncut. It's larger sheets. Those of you who've been with me for a while know that I stumbled upon or stumbled into a whole horde of sheets of Kingfrogsher. It's awesome. I stumbled into a whole bunch of sheets of Arch's 300-pound paper, or 300-pound and some 140-pound watercolor paper, and have been using that. But it's big. It's a full elephant size, and it needs to be cut down. Let's see. Rose Boundy says our kookaburra is in the Kingfisher family. That's true. I like the kookaburras. Kookaburras are exceedingly cool, as are our kingfishers. They very much resemble each other. Very much look alike, except that the kingfishers are a little bit more colorful. I think the kookaburras are mostly like a brown, gray, and a tan color. Is that right? I think that's right. Carrie, Rose Boundy, somebody tell me, is that right? I think they're a pretty unremarkable color anyways. They're a remarkable bird, but they're a pretty unremarkable color if I remember right. Ooh, look, I'm being bold with some of this orange in here. Being very bold, and I can kind of, right, with a little abandon, I can be a little sloppy with this color if I want to, because, like I said at the beginning, there is quite a bit of, in fact, I've got too much color here. There's quite a bit of dark that's going to go in between these colors, right? You can almost paint section by section and just put a yes, very, very Aussie brush colors. Right. But a beautiful bird nonetheless. And I don't know how big the kookaburras are. I know that these guys here are really quite small. A lot smaller than I really thought they were until I started seeing them flying around. Beautiful nonetheless, but diminutive, I should say. Diminutive. All right, let's see. I'm gonna, give me a little bit of, I don't know that that's the right. I need a little bit more blue in that. I want to gray this down and dark this down a little bit. In a couple of spots. Just trying to add a little bit of interest to this. It doesn't need to be too much at the moment, but just a little bit. I want to try to tweak these colors just a little bit so that when you look at this, yes, and some white. Okay, cool. Yes, and some white. Rose Bounty says, yes, they have the most unique songs and voices. Okay, so I didn't know anything about the sound that they make. That's cool. I had no idea. And I don't know that I've ever even heard these guys. But what I'm going to do before I do anything else, because I've got this, I've got some orange on here, and that's going to start to define the eye, right? The head. We're getting a kind of a dark area in here between those colors. That's all cool. Now, normally I would come down here and I'd paint this orange stripe on his chest right down here, but I can't do it quite yet because what I want to do is get some shading in on the white. Down here and up here before I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with our friend here, our neutral tint. I love painting shadow areas with neutral tint. Laughing kookaburra. That's interesting. Now I'm gonna have to look up to hear what the sound of a kookaburra is. But I'm gonna put my neutral tint on here, and I'm going to have to do this wet on wet because I don't have the faith that I can do this exactly right, just all by myself. And no, I'm not going to start singing a song. Well, actually, I might. I've been known to sing every now and again, badly. Don't worry, I sing very badly. Don't worry about that. And if I start singing, I probably will end up on the stream all by myself. It's something I can probably already guess that would happen. Ooh, that's a lot of color. So that's a lot of color. Let's blend that way out. We should be able to pull that out. And this is one of the things, if you're just getting into watercolor, you're not sure how to move color around in watercolor. One of the cool things, and it took me a while, it didn't take me a while to learn it. It took me a while to realize how easy it was to do. You can move, as long as you're working in a wet area, you can move this color around almost however you want to. It's wet, you just move it around, you grab it with your brush, pull it around. If you've got too much, you can pull it out from an area where you're at. If you don't have quite enough, you can push it back into the area that you're at. As long as you keep this whole area wet, you've got a lot of control over whatever it is you're doing here. And so I want to get that, just that shadow color underneath his chin there. And because it's going to run into some of that orange on this side too, I'm going to put it on his chest here. What is my favorite song? My current, let me qualify the answer. Current song or all-time song? I will tell you, the thing I'm listening to most right now is, I almost have it on kind of repeat, or a whole bunch of all of Bruno Mars's albums. Right, Bruno's a pretty fantastic artist. So I'm constantly switching between, I don't know, Gorilla, 24 Karat Magic, Silk Sonic, and what's the other one? Jukeboxes and something. I've known the song about kookaburra when I was in grade school. What's the song about kookaburras? I'm gonna show my Australian ignorance here, and don't get upset with me. So this is not really true, because I'm going to say the only Australian song I know, because I know lots of songs by, I grew up in the 80s, so I knew Men at Work, and I knew In Excess, and of course I know Olivia Newton-John and all that stuff, but the only one that's truly, about Australia and for Australia and everything Australia, I hate to say this, is like Waltzing Matilda. It's not a terrible thing to say. I don't believe there's a kookaburra in that song. But if we're talking my favorite song of all time, that's a good question. What is my favorite song of all time? That's gonna be. Did you ever hear the Naval Academy's take on Uptown Funk? It's called Naptown Funk. No, I didn't. I haven't heard that. Naptown Funk. That's funny. No, I haven't heard the Naval Academy take on anything. So while I'm waiting for the white, right, to dry, or what is white on the I almost said the bird, this animal's chest to dry a little bit, I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to paint the beak. And because we have some darker colors that can go over top of this, I can go ahead and just paint this just one solid color. I'm making it slightly different from the rest of the orange color, but it could be the same. If you wanted to paint this at home, that would be fine. And trying to get it a little lighter at the top than on the bottom. In fact, I can darken this up on the bottom just a little bit, and let me tap in just a little bit of this red. So I should say, before I get too far in there, I've got 3 yellowish things, right, colors here that I'm using. One is azo orange, which is a bright orange, and now I've got just a dab of orange that came out here. So here's my azo. Well, let me level this out just ever so slightly. Here's my azo orange. Come on, azo orange, right? It's a bright orange. Look at how bright that is. The other one I have, which is more yellow, is New Gamboge, one of my favorite colors on my palette right there. And then if I really need to lighten stuff up, I've got this azo yellow or Hansa yellow. It's a really cold yellow, so I think we're going to be spending most of our time up here in our oranges, more orangey colors. Ooh, look at those colors. Those are orange. That azo orange is such a bright orange. Gorilla, Blue Imam, your Gorilla is your favorite song. It's more of a kid's song. Let's see. Naptown Funk. Vonda says. The song about kookaburras is more of a kid's song and can be sung in rounds. Okay, cool. And then Sadiqa says the Naptown Funk you can watch on YouTube, which I might end up doing just to see it. And Blue Mom says, yeah, Gorilla by Bruno Mars is one of my favorite songs by him. I think Uptown Funk is a fantastic song. It's not really by Bruno. It's Mark Ronson. But I think that's okay. We can basically give it to Bruno since he does all of the lyrics in it. When it's not really his song. Bruno, come on. But he's got so many good songs, and the 24 Karat Magic, the whole album reminds me so much of Heavy D and the Boys. It just reeks to me of Heavy D and the Boys, but fantastic album. I love it. All right, so I've got some wet stuff up here. I'm going to kind of leave that for a second, and I'm going to come down here. Oh, actually, you know what? As long as I've got this orange, let's do this. This guy's got some orange feet, right? Right. He's got orange feet. Which way do I want to turn this to paint some feet? Let's start with some orange toes here, right? I'm still trying to figure out what my favorite song of all time is. It's probably if I had to list one song that is my favorite song, I would probably say One Particular Harbor by Jimmy Buffett would be my favorite all-time song. I can always put that on and sing along. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've been to 7 Jimmy Buffett concerts. Each one has been fantastic. Love the music, love the style, there's a lot to like about it. It just makes you feel happy when you listen to it. It's kind of fun. His music doesn't take itself too seriously. I don't think Jimmy took himself all that seriously. He just wanted people to have a good time when they were listening to his music and enjoy themselves a little bit. And so that's what I always do when I'm listening to that. So I'm going to say, if I have to pick one song as my favorite song of all time, that's what I'm going to pick. And unless you're a parrot head, you may never have heard that song. In which case you're missing out. And if we want to talk some concert stories, I've got some concert stories for you. But this is a painting channel. This is a painting channel, so maybe we should probably try to stick with some of that. Maybe, I don't know, it'd probably be a good thing, right? I'll add it to my playlist and listen to it. Edie says, your drawing skills are excellent. Do you have formal training? I don't have any training in doing any of this. My drawing skills are, I don't do, so my drawing skills, I think, are rudimentary. I can basically do the outline and, bigger patterns. I can't be bothered to sit there and do anything small. My patience for drawing runs out pretty quickly after I get to something that I can throw some paint on. So if you watch enough of my stuff, you'll see the basic outline of stuff. The basic proportions are usually pretty good. And then everything in the center is just kind of a little iffy. And that's okay. Why do... Okay, well, we got a kind of more of an existential question. Why do I think we dream? Why do I think we dream? The physiologic is I did say no questions were really off limits. I think that we dream so that our brains can decompress a little bit. I think the act of dreaming has a kind of a beneficial influence on our psyche. It cleans up some of the mess that's in our brains. I'm gonna couch this whole thing by saying I have no idea. I have no clue. But if I had to guess, I would say it does something to clean up the chemical or reset the chemical processes that take place inside of our brains so that we can, once we get up in the morning, we can then focus on those things that we need to, or we have traditionally needed to do to stay alive, or to think better or more quickly or something. I have no real idea, but to me that kind of makes sense. I think it's interesting that we all kind of dream but don't really dream. Never heard a Jimmy Buffett song. I listen to drum and bass music and, to a lesser extent, deep house music. What? Wait, how can you not have heard Jimmy? Well, that's okay. If you pull up some of Jimmy's stuff, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's all fun stuff. It's going to be a lot really different than anything you're used to, I suspect. Jimmy in his early days kind of went to Nashville to try to be a country singer, and it worked out completely not at all for him. And at some point, one of his mentors kind of said, well, if that's not working out, just do what makes you happy and be fun and have fun with it, rather than try to make stuff that's going to please everybody else. And he kind of did that. And shortly after that, his own brand of music kind of was born. And his music is, yeah, I guess it still has country influences in it. Certainly it's not country music, but it does have country influence in it, and he draws from, he grew up in Mississippi or Alabama. I think he grew up in Mobile, Alabama. And he uses that as an inspiration for a lot of his songs. And then all of his time in the Caribbean, he definitely works into all of his songs and whatnot. It's a mishmash of a whole bunch of different kind of sounds, and it's something to behold for sure. It's not for everybody. I'm not suggesting it should be. I'm not suggesting it is. But I find it enjoyable. All right, so I've got some color on here. I'm just gonna darken up the same thing I did on the wings here. I'm just gonna put some a little darker value on here to, you know, this leg's got some bits that are in deeper shadow here. I'm going to put some of this other color on, but I don't want to get rid of too much of that light. I want to keep some of that lighter color on there. I think that's probably good enough right there. Let's see. Am I 6 foot tall? I am 6 foot. I'm exactly 6 foot tall. Even animals dream. It must have something to do with the brain, biochemistry in general. There you go. I was kind of right. Didn't I say? I said something like that. I am 6 foot tall. What a question. I didn't expect to answer questions about me. These kinds of questions anyways, about me. I'm happy to. I got nothing to hide. What else? What other questions you want to know about me? My other hobbies include spending time with my chickens and fishing. And I think the chickens would rather I didn't fish. They would rather spend time with them. I love my chickens. I have 5 chickens right now, and they're all fantastic girls. All of them are fantastic. Don't ask me to name a favorite. I don't know if I could. But they're all wonderful girls. Absolutely wonderful. A little messy, perhaps, but wonderful nonetheless. There we go. So we're getting a little color on those legs in there. And now, while that's wet, now all this up here is dry. I can come back in and put some of that orange color back in up here. And we keep moving along with this. I don't know what colors we had going on here. Do I like to dance? I don't know that I'm much of a dancer. Probably not my favorite thing in the world to do. I'm not opposed to a little dancing here and there, but not the best dancer in the world. Had you asked me that 20 years ago, we probably would have got a different answer. But as it is now, I probably lost all of my rhythm and timing, or much of it. Anyways, I hate to say that, but it's probably true. And I'm certainly not as good as I used to be, and so I don't know that I've gone out dancing in a long, long time anyways. But I'm not opposed to having a little fun and dancing around here and there, doing some stuff like that. All right, I think I should have put this on a little bit more wet into wet, but that's okay. Let's see, this kind of comes down the wing. I'm looking, so I have my image up over there, and then you guys are over here. So if you see me look over this way, I'm looking at my reference image, and this comes down somewhere into here, this orange. I've waited a while and it's starting to dry on me a little bit. I don't want to lose some of this edge. There we are. There we are. Bluey Mom says, I like to dance. Do you play an instrument? I do-ish. I do-ish. Some of you all have heard me before. I actually need to pick it back up. But I do have... How far down does this go? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7? This is going to tell you the extent of my musical mastery. Did I say I have 7? I have 7 ukuleles that I've started to play, and we could talk about my mastery or lack thereof of said instrument. But they are fun to play, and you can pick them up and learn a tune pretty quickly, and so I like it for that. Whoops. They are fun. And I play piano, organ, saxophone, bassoon, and guitar. Holy cow. So that's another thing for me growing up, that I was strictly forbidden from playing a musical instrument. My mother had some health ailments in which she has debilitating headaches. And she was like, you are not practicing at home. So I don't care what anybody says, you are not practicing at home, therefore you will not be playing a musical instrument. And that was it. So everything I have learned musically has been much later in life. Where is, let's see. I don't even know. My favorite ukulele, right here. Not really in tune. The coolest one, a little bigger. Still not in tune. And a couple of other ones over there that are just kind of, they are what they are. But yeah, I need to get those back out again and start playing with those. And I just did the same thing this week that I said I wasn't going to do last week, which is put my green in my yellow. Why did I do that again? My yellow paint is always all goofed up because it's got yellow's always got the other colors mixed in with it, and they shouldn't be there. And this is a little too bright. Let's dull this down a little more of this cobalt green. So the greens that I have on my palette, I have there for a specific reason. And that specific reason is they match the colors of green that I see around me where I live. And no other reason than that. I have cobalt green on there. I've got phthalo green, which I absolutely adore. Absolutely adore phthalo green. I've got some olive green. I've got a nice azo green, which is like if you have Daniel Smith paints, they call it green gold. What other colors of green do I have here? I've got cobalt green, phthalo green, olive green, and azo green. Okay, cool. Those are the greens I have on there. Of those, phthalo green, by far my favorite. By far my favorite. I love phthalo green. It mixes so nicely and looks so good when you mix it with other colors. It's just fantastic. It's just a fantastic color. All right, I'm just throwing some color on here a little bit. There we've got something going on here. And I'm looking up, and he's starting to take some shape. He's starting to take shape. He's looking better. It's not looking great yet, but it's going to get there. Oh wow, we're almost an hour into this, and I'm still jabbering away about all kinds of stuff. I didn't realize we're anywhere close to an hour into this. I thought we were like 20 minutes in. That's okay. It's all good. I'm going to add a little bit of a darker color down here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I want this color to be... I want one leg to be behind the other a little bit here. Come on, give me a little bit of this. A little bit of ultramarine blue. I'm not the hugest ultramarine blue fan, but a little bit of ultramarine blue will help push that leg back a little bit. Then we can get into some of our other green colors as it comes up here. But I want it to look like that leg, this knee is in front, right? I want that knee to be in front. This knee has to be in front. So we're going to do whatever we need to do to make it look like that knee is in front of the leg behind it. Of course, it's going to make it look like it's in front of what's behind it. That's the easiest way to say that, right? Bluey Mom, what other questions you got for me? I think I've handled those first ones nearly admirably. I took a crack at them. I'm game to answer anything. What else you got? Yes, I do have a hairband in my hair. I have long hair, and it gets in my way quite often. But I like my long hair. It's quite crazy. It is quite often completely out of control. And that's all right. It's sometimes completely out of control. I'm gonna answer some questions before you get to them. The last song I learned on the ukulele was "It's Still Rock and Roll to Me" by Billy Joel. But don't ask me to play it at the moment. My favorite movie. So I've got a couple of movies that I really like that people are going to go, what? Well, at least one movie that people are going to go, what? Never heard of it, or that's crazy, something like that. So I'm a big gangster fan, right? I grew up in an area of the country where we still had some mobbed up areas, and I kind of grew up liking some of the mobsters. So I started liking all these old gangster movies, right? So for me, the top movie, my favorite of all time, is going to be, and probably always will be, The Godfather. It's done so well. It's so good. It's got all the classic gangster stuff in there that you like. It's a fantastic movie. I'm never going to say anything bad about that. Right? Then if you're talking gangsters and stuff like that, crazy movies, I think Reservoir Dogs is way up there. I know a lot of people don't like Quentin Tarantino, but holy cow, I thought he did that so well. That's a gangster movie too. I quote lines from that all the time. And then, I think I grabbed the wrong blue there. I would definitely grab the wrong blue. One movie that most people don't know of that I thought was fascinating, not because it was written well or acted well or anything like that, but cinematically it was such an interesting movie, was an art house movie called The Thief, the Cook, His Wife, and Her Lover. And if anybody has heard of that movie, I will be completely shocked. But what made it really cool... Wait a minute, you've never seen The Godfather? Oh. Godfather. You've never seen The Godfather? Oh, so good. I'll have a viewing of it on Twitch or something. Do you paint in other media too? I do not, Edie. I have some gouache paints, but that would be the only other medium I use. I only really got into watercolors because I could set them up quickly, I could take them down quickly, I could paint quickly, I could do everything fast. I didn't have to have a mess all around. And because of that, I never really got into any other type of, any other medium. It never dawned on me that I might want to do that. And as it turns out, I'm really okay with that because I really fell in love with the water medium. It's just such a fascinating medium to me that I never really wanted to do too much of any other medium. So I've dabbled in gouache. I've used watercolor pencils. I may have. I guess I have some acrylic paints, or had some acrylic paints, and I tried them out once, but in reality, no, it's watercolors for me, and that's it. There's nothing else for me, and I'm not saying I'm too old to learn any other medium. I just don't think I have the desire to learn any other medium. I think this is such a cool thing. I like, Rose Bundy says, I like watercolors. It's as fun as a duck puddling in a pond. There you go. I like that. So when I started out with watercolors, I love Drive with Ryan Gosling. Okay, so I don't know that movie. I don't have any idea what that movie is. I know who Ryan Gosling is. I don't know the movie Drive. That's probably a me thing. I will admit to not being the biggest movie person in the world, though. I was going to say something else here now. What was I going to say? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So when I first started painting watercolors, all I knew was that I wanted to do something that would get me away from staring at a screen. And it sounds a little funny because it's not. I did this in the late 90s to get away from staring at a screen. It's kind of something more people would talk about only recently than, 20 years ago or so. But that was why I got into watercolor painting. I noticed that I'd go to work and I'd stare at the screen. I'd come home and I'd stare at the screen. I'd relax from looking at a computer by looking at a TV. When I wasn't doing that, I was, looking at my phone. I was playing Snake or something on my phone. And I was like, hold on a second. My eyes are going to be buggy by the time, I'm however old, by the time I'm 40 or whatever. And so I made the conscious decision to try to find something else that would take up some of my time. I was living in a very small apartment at the time and didn't want to have to set up, an easel for oils, or I guess you set up an easel for acrylics? I don't know. No, I guess you could paint acrylics anywhere. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because I decided that watercolors was what I was going to start with, and I started with them and had fun with them. And when I was done, I could put them in a cupboard, and they were gone. They didn't affect anything, and I just stuck with them, and it has worked out. I think it has worked out, and I guess that's for anybody else to figure out, to tell me whether they think it's worked out for me or not. But I think it's worked out. I've enjoyed my time painting watercolors. Let's see. Edie says, I've been binging on Cannonball and Death Race 2000, both starring David Carradine. I've seen each at least a dozen times, maybe more. Wow. Wow. Death Race 2000, I haven't seen that in a long time. That's an oldie. And Bluey Mama says, the painting is looking good. It's getting there. So this thing I did right here, right? See that little light spot? It's darker up here and it gets lighter there. I want to make sure I keep that. It's so easy to paint something. Oh, look, I painted on my branch there. It dropped on my branch. It's so easy to paint something and then go, I'm just going to paint right over top of that. I'm going to fill that in with color, and I'm not going to think about it again. And then you look at your painting when you're done and you're going, well, it's just kind of one note. Well, it's probably one note, not because you did anything wrong, right? It's because you got a little carried away and you covered up all the cool light and dark areas. And we want to keep some of those lighter and darker areas. We want to make sure that in our painting we have plenty of lights and we have plenty of darks in there, because those lights and those darks are what really help to give us interest in our painting. If we cover up all of our lights, all of a sudden we don't have any highlights, and we got to figure a way to get them back in there. Highlights are tough to put back in watercolors. They just are. They like to stay hidden, so we can't cover them up. I mean, we can. We just shouldn't. Let's just say it that way. Right? We just shouldn't. But we can. What we can do is find out where is a good place for some darks and make sure we put some darks there and allow everything else to be much, much lighter. Like right here, I can put down at the end of, this is upside down, obviously, but down at the end of this wing, I can make that dark as dark as I want to. That can be dark, dark, dark down there, right? Whoop, down here. But somewhere in here, we ought to have it a little bit lighter. Let's see. Sudike says, I've been forcing myself to work with palettes with fewer colors. It's torture because I just love all the colors in my regular palette. All the colors bring you joy. So limited color palettes are so much fun. I should do some limited color palette painting. Limited color palette painting. I should do some of that. Because you really do oftentimes get some very interesting paintings that come from that. Once you figure out the limited color scheme, there's some really, you can really do some cool stuff with it. Yes, initially it's a bit more difficult because you want to grab all the different colors and you want to start putting them on the page, and it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work well that way. It'll always work that way. It just, again, might not be what you want to do. There we go. Look. Okay, cool. We've got kind of a wing going on here. You know what I'm going to do? So as long as this is still a little bit damp, I'm going to bring a little bit of this darkness up just a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, cool. Good, 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 good. We got some stuff going on now. Now I'm going to get my oranges going here, and I'm going to drop in. This is going to be scary. I'm going to drop in a little bit of this neutral tint in that orange. This orange will dull down so quickly. But there's a couple of areas up here that I want to put in some darker colors. Most of them are going to center right around this eye. I'll be honest. And this is where what I'm going to paint is probably going to deviate a bit from whatever's on that reference photo. The rest of this bird is, or a lot of the rest of this bird is just an average bird. But I want to get some darks in here around this eye. And I'm going to do it with some lighter color, some lighter layers. I always say I'm going to work in lighter layers. And then I get to about the 2-hour mark and I go, all right, I'm done. I'm just, I'm going to dump on some color. What would you go back in time to your childhood or further, if I could? Okay, great question. Am I reliving that time? Do I have to stay there and relive that time, or am I just going to visit? I think that's gonna drive my answer. Is the question? Do I have any regrets that I wish I could go back and relive, and then I go back and I relive those, or am I just going back to watch myself and see what I'm doing at a particular time in my life, or something like that? That will greatly define how I answer that question. I'm going to grab a little bit of Payne's Gray here. I'm going to mix that with a little bit of this neutral tint. Right. Give me some of that. And just to visit, absolutely I'd go back and visit. I'd go back and visit myself. Why would I not? I would love to see if my remembrance of my childhood is the same as my actual childhood. Right? How much did I like doing stuff growing up? What brought me joy back then? Am I remembering things the same as they used to be? Or do I have some weird skewed recollection of my childhood for some reason? Would love to see that. I'm not somebody who thought I had a terrible childhood. I didn't have a fancy childhood by any stretch. But that's not anything specific to me. There were plenty of people back in the day. I grew up very much in the country, and I ran around all day and all night, just outside in a field, me and some animals, a knife, maybe, a BB gun sometimes, a couple of friends, just running around doing kid things. I think that kids today miss being a kid to a great extent. But I say that knowing that that's me saying it through my own lens, right? I have complete faith that kids today will look back on kids in 20 years' time and go, well, gosh, you guys don't have the childhood that we had, and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true. I love what Vonda says. I love watching you paint the darker and lighter parts, the edge and detail. Awesome job. Thank you. So it's that interplay of dark and light that really makes watercolors pop so much. I will say this till I am blue in the face. We can paint anything we want to in watercolor. But if we don't make a big difference between darks and lights in our final painting, it doesn't matter, because it's all going to be just blah, right? The coolness, the funness, the greatness that makes watercolors cool is in the difference between the darks and lights. We have to, in order to make our paintings pop and look good, get that difference between darks and between lights. The difference, I promise you, if you're learning watercolors, if you want to paint watercolors and be good at watercolors, and I'm not even necessarily saying I'm any kind of a great watercolor artist or anything like that. I have no illusions to being a fantastic watercolor artist. I'm somebody who has a great passion for watercolors. I enjoy it very much. I think my contribution to watercolors is passing on the joy I have for watercolors to others. But if you want to become better at watercolors, the thing you have to be willing and able to do is to lean into the darks, right? The thing that I think holds so many watercolor artists back is the fact that they will get to a middle tone and then they'll go, if I push this, I'm going to ruin it. And in reality, if you pushed it, you would make it 10 times better. You just can't be afraid to push it that little bit extra. So, I don't like that hard line I have there. I don't want that hard line. Let me scrub that a little bit. And so you've got the difference is between the darks and the lights. And then here you've got different values in here too. Up here you got different values. Don't be afraid to leave some lighter in with some darker areas. That interest, that play of interest. Don't be afraid to throw a red in here where there's some orange, right? All those little things really help to make the paintings that much better. There's a saying that goes, value does all the work, color gets all the credit. There you go. That's kind of a nice thing. Edie says, I'd go back to my childhood only if I could keep my adult memory. Oh. I didn't think about it like that. If you go back and you lose your memory, what's the point? Because you don't know exactly why you went back. Oh, that's a good... yeah, see, I didn't even think about that. Rosemindy says, I really like mixing my own colors from the primary colors. I do too, to an extent. Because if you're mixing from primary colors, it's harder to get brighter colors. Right? The more you mix your colors on the page, the duller, the grayer they're going to get. The more they move to the middle of the color value spectrum, right? That's just kind of how it goes. Look, I'm just pushing this paint out of the way. Look at that. It's still just ever so slightly damp. I'm just pushing it out of the way, and I can kind of give some more dimensionality to our bird here, to that wing, to that arm, whatever that thing is back there. What is that thing back there? All right, I'm going to mix up a gray here. For me, this gray is going to be sepia, right? Which is I have in my neutral area. And a little bit of ultramarine. There, I've got my gray. Because I have some areas back here that are really dark and I want to darken them up before I do too much else. Super dark area back here. Super dark. Right. That's my own gray. There are certain colors I really do like to mix, and there are certain colors I really don't like to mix. And yeah, mixing your own colors is cool. If you're working with a limited palette, it can be a ton of fun to do it on a daily, weekly basis. I don't know. I might I might drive myself crazy with it. It can be tough to work with if you're mixing all of your own colors like that. All right, so let me go into a little bit more of this blue as we're coming out here. I'm going to let that gray mix into just a little bit of blue. Yes, it's the underside of the feather under here. Maybe it wouldn't be that color, but I'm just going to go with it. If you see this hanging on the wall in my office, you're not going to go, wait a minute, that shouldn't be like that. What you're going to say is, ooh, that's kind of neat. And I haven't just, my colors are running. I don't like hard edges for the most part. I don't like unwanted hard edges, I should say it that way. And I'm getting a little color running. I think it's because I've gone back over this a few times. White and Blue and Yellow Don't Make Green by Michael Wilcox is an excellent book on the physics of pigmentation and the light. Pigmentation and light, and I highly recommend it. Blue and yellow don't mix. Hang on a minute, I'm going to write that down. Blue and yellow don't make green. All right. Not all of my, I was going to say a lot of my color value knowledge I have gotten from Handprint. I think it's Handprint. It's been a while since I've looked at them. And it's still up there. That website is still up. I looked at it not too long ago. It's a guy who was in medical school who decided to try to understand color theory and put together a whole thing about different colors, and then got into pigments and started doing all kinds of things and put it all in a website. And it is fascinating to see how somebody with a, I'm going to put it in quotes, a scientific mind approached color and color theory and whatnot. So I got a lot from that. Get the latest edition. You're all grayed out. When did you start going gray? Oh, you're talking about my crazy hair. When did I start going gray? About 5 years ago, I would say, is when I started going gray. Thank you for reminding me. Did you see my head over? Oh, yeah. I leaned too far forward, didn't I? I started going gray about 5 years ago, I would say. And it has slowly crept. Maybe a little bit more. But yes, there's a little bit of gray in there. It is what it is. I'm not vain enough to do anything about it, other than maybe complain just a little bit. It's going to happen. It's going to be whatever happens to it. You know what? If the hair falls out too, it's going to fall out. So be it. I'm not fighting it. It's going to be whatever it is. I'm not chasing a specific look. I'm not chasing youth or anything like that. If it wants to go, it's going to go on its own. It looks good. It's better than balding and receding. Thank you. The hair doesn't bother me quite as much, I guess, because it's not quite as gray yet. But the beard from time to time does bother me. But again, that's nature doing what nature does. I guess I've had some stressful times, and I guess that can be something that comes around because of stress. Like I said, so be it. I'm not doing anything to dissuade that color, but I'm not doing anything to promote it or anything like that either. Okay, so, all right. We got a few things to get going on here. What's our timing here? Wow, an hour and a half. Wow, I used to pick pictures that I was like, I can paint this in an hour. I'll be out of here in an hour. And now all of a sudden I'm in an hour and a half and feels like I've been out here for 20 minutes. And I think I've got another hour painting to go. We might have to speed this up a little bit. Let's do this. Oh, I can't do this. I was going to paint the log, but I can't do that because I just painted the tail, and I'm gonna have to do more. So let's do this. You know what? Let's paint it. Let's get going on the eye here. You made it as a compliment. I'm sorry. I'm not worried. I'm not worried one iota. I'm really not. I've never been accused of being overly attractive or overly handsome. My identity was never tied to my looks, so I'm not concerned about it if I'm going gray or if I'm staying whatever color my hair is, anything like that. I don't even sweat it. It is, like I said, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'll deal with it. As it happens, we'll go from there. All right, a little bit of color in his eye. It's kind of orange. I want it to be a little different than the rest of them. You know what? I maybe shouldn't put that brown in there. I was trying to separate it. Maybe I'll put just a little bit of red in here. Maybe that'll do it. I always think, though, if I put in a red eye, it's going to make him look evil. I don't want him to be evil. But maybe we'll just drop a little bit in here. It feels like only 5 minutes. That's good. It means you were in a flow state. Yeah. Honestly, if you were to ask me, have we been painting for an hour and 25 minutes, I'd have said, you're nuts. It's not an hour and 25 minutes. We're at 40 minutes tops. Tops. And that's half of that's because I know I misjudge time sometimes. All right, let's do this. Now we've got some wet there. Just touched the, whoops, you can't even see it. Just touched the tail down here. It's pretty dry. So let's paint our log here. And I'm going to go into whatever green we have going on here. That can stay. There's green tones in wood. And I'm going to put in, ooh, that looks good, a nice muddy color. I'm going to put this color in. This is burnt umber. Let's see, I should probably start on this side, shouldn't I? Burnt umber, whatever that green mixture was. We'll add some blue to it. We'll add some gray to it. We'll add more of all of these colors in here. You see me reaching up over there quite a lot. I've got 2 water bins over there, 2 water buckets, 2 water reservoirs, as it were. One is clean water, meaning what's in there is only water that I've touched after my brush has been cleaned, and I do not go into that water with a dirty brush. My brush always touches the dirty water first. The clean stays, so the clean stays clean. And I like my clean water to stay clean in case I ever do need it. And then I've got the dirty water over here that I'm constantly poking into. And I've got a sponge that I dab my brush off on. I'm big on trying to find whatever the proper amount of water on your brush is for you. For everybody, you're going to have a little different tolerance for whatever you like, right? So I know about the moisture level that I like to have on my brush, and I'm constantly either dipping it, dabbing it onto a paper towel or onto the sponge that's on my table here, in order to get the right value on there. Let's see. Sweet. Edie says you subscribed. Thank you very much, and you rang the bell for notifications. So I'll tell you while you're here. Mostly I paint here on Wednesdays. Okay? Welcome to the club. What you say? Michael's Maniacs. Sadika, you're funny. Mostly I paint here on Wednesdays because I've got the time carved out into my schedule. I've got buy-in from my family that I don't have to do family stuff on Wednesdays. I do this on Wednesdays. I have tried to do things on Saturday and Sunday, but for anybody who does stuff on the weekends knows weekend times often fill up pretty quick with everything else. And so I will admit to having trouble to streaming on Saturdays and Sundays from time to time. But you might see me on a random Saturday or Sunday, or even a Friday evening. Maybe you'll see me on a random stream. But I'm dedicated to streaming on YouTube here on Wednesday evenings. But having said that, thank you for subscribing. It's great to have you in the club. I look forward to seeing you on the stream every week. Maybe not every week. Every week's a big commitment. Let's just say most of the time. I'm going to sign you up for most of the time. It'll be fine. And you'll come back and we'll have a good time. We're a little light on regulars, it seems, tonight. But there are 6 or 7 or 8 people who are typically here every time. And I want this to be just more of a hangout with some friends more than anything else, because to me that makes it something I want to do. That makes it totally something I want to do, and if it's something that I want to do, then I think I'll treat it as something that you would probably want to do also. And so that's how I approach that. I'm trying to get a little darker color down here on the bottom of this, and I keep getting it washed out a little bit. And I'm going to call on my friend Sepia to give me a little extra color here. Edie, there's no need to thank me. You were the one who is signing up for listening to me. Sorry about that. No, but I do. I enjoy this. I got to a point with this, and told my wife, I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to do this on Wednesdays. And she's like, what are you talking about? She goes, you love doing that. I'm like, no, I don't. She goes, yes, you do. Every time you do it, you come back in the house and you're like, oh my God, I did this, we did that, we talked about this. I'm like, do I really do that? She's like, oh, yes. And I sat down and thought about it. I was like, you know what? I hate to admit it. She's right. I do. I really enjoy these Wednesdays. And I typically go to bed early. I'm early to bed, early to rise kind of a person. But on Wednesdays, I go in and I'm like, I can't even get to sleep. I'm all jacked up from this. I've had so much fun. My energy's up. I'm having a good time. I don't even get to sleep until late. But then I still get up early. Seems I don't have enough white area here. Let's do this. I want some white in here. I'm willing to, come on, CB. I'm willing to put a little bit darker edge down here. I got to make this right. This is going to sound really funny. This is going to sound really funny. I got to get this tree right, this branch right. Because I know, I can guarantee it. My ma is going to watch this, and she's a big proponent of saying, you do trees and sticks really well. And I just want to go, thanks, Mom. That's what I want to be known as, is the painter of sticks. But I don't want to. that's funny. But I don't want to. I don't want her to see this and go, "Oh, you really screwed that one up." Not that she would do that. Probably. Probably not. But Mom, I'm getting there. It's gonna get there, Ma. Don't worry about it. I promise it'll look good before we're done. I promise. All right, I'm trying to get a little shadow area around some of these toes here so you can see them going over there. Oh, Sadiq, that's nice of you to say. One good thing I do is explain how and why I do something. And if I don't explain something in a way that you think makes sense or you understand, just say, excuse me, why'd you do it that way? I don't understand why you did it that way. Because I will always take the time to explain what it is and why I did it. Ooh, look at that. That's a good looking stick there. Come on, give me some of these other colors. I don't want all this dark brown, but give me some of this other. That's too dark. That's too dark. Come on, Michael. There we go. Oh, too much water. All right. Good. And if you don't know the trick, if you don't know the trick, you don't have to go from your water to your paint. You can go from your water, dry your brush off like this, go back into the paint that's on your palette, use that as your water, and then go into new paint, and you'll charge up your paint, and you'll get like twice as thick. It'll look fantastic. It'll look great. Okay, that's a good looking stick, I think, right? A good painter of sticks. I'm the painter of sticks. Yes, Thomas Kincaid calls himself the painter of light. Who's the guy who actually is the painter of light? I don't know. One of those old painters, the painter of light, Renaissance painters, the painter of light, or something like that. I don't know. And I'm the painter of sticks. I can paint a stick better than anybody. Let's put a little green in. Oh, I see. I can't come back down here now. So this is too dry. I can't get back into that. I don't even know if I can get back in up here. This is too dry. I should have been painting a little bit more than talking. I got a little carried away. A little bit of green in here, though. We can come back and do it. A little bit of green is going to help to tie this all together. If you look at a stick, if you pick any random stick up and look at it, it's got all different colors on it. It's not just brown, or it's not just brown and gray. There's so many different colors on it that you start throwing in different colors like this, and everything you do makes it look a little bit better, and you go, why didn't I do that before? How did I not know that? Well, it doesn't matter because you know it now, right? So this is one area where I don't mind not leaving a highlight, because I'm going to come back and paint if I could speak, I'm going to come back and I'm going to paint I'm going to add a highlight with my gel pen anyways into the eye, so I'm not that worried about it. And I think what I want to do at this point is I'm going to make a dark, and again, I'm not necessarily going for a black, I'm going to go for a dark. Sepia and ultramarine blue. Look, we got a wonderful dark. We can make that a little warmer. We can make it a little colder if we want. But look at it, it's beautiful, beautiful color. As opposed to just putting on a black, right? That's okay. Come on, it would be great. It would be better if it was in focus, wouldn't it? Eventually. Hello. There we go. Look, there's nothing wrong with the black. Well, I can't even see where I'm pointing to. There's nothing wrong with that black, but that seems to have a lot more life to it. So we're gonna use that. I like grabbing my sepia and ultramarine. This gives us a wonderful, wonderful dark color. Maybe get a little bit of that color off of the brush there. No more questions. Nobody's got any questions. Bluey Mom, any more questions you want to throw them out there? Actually, I very much enjoyed your questions. Believe it or not, I've very much enjoyed your questions. I like answering questions as I'm doing things. And if there's something I don't want to answer or won't answer, I'm just going to tell you, yeah, I'd rather not answer that. So don't worry about me if you're asking questions. I'll figure it out. But I'm not going to give you, a credit card number. Don't forget the nostril. Oh, yeah, the nostril. I'll get the nostril. I won't forget the nostril. Yeah, look, so as we start to add some of these dark colors in here, these really dark colors in here, this whole thing is really going to come together. Now, I've got some other stuff we need to put on here. Sure. We're not quite done with everything yet. That's okay. That's all right. That's okay. But we want to start getting some of this other stuff on here. And like I said, one of the really nice things is with this bird is that almost everywhere between these major color groups, there are these dark lines. It really makes it easy to paint this bird. And when I started painting birds in general, this was one of the first birds that I painted. And I did it just for this reason, because quite frankly, it was pretty easy to do. I've never been to California. I live east of the U.S. I was about to say, well, there's not a whole lot east of the U.S., but there's up north. There's quite a bit that's east of the U.S. Okay, so you're east of the U.S. You're in Canada, Bluey Mom. Did you put that here? Are you Bluey Mom? Are you in Canada? If you're east of the U.S. If you're in Canada, I have an additional question for you. I'm going to attempt to paint a little bit around this eyeball. Vondo, Sudika, you guys all know I'm terrible about painting things in a circle. I'm terrible at painting things in a circle. Oh, you're in Michigan. Oh, all right, never mind. You're in Michigan. My old stomping ground. I've got relatives all through the state of Michigan. All through the state of Michigan. Love the Mitten State. It's my favorite mitten shaped state of all of them. Oh, there you go. Sadiqa's in Illinois, yeah. I used to spend my summers up in the UP. Maybe not the entire summer, but quite a bit of my summer up in the UP. I loved the Upper Peninsula. Fantastic place to hike around and jump around and do some crazy things. Edie's gotta go, guys. It's pushing midnight here, and I'm starting to nod off. Enjoy the rest of the stream. I'll see you. Okay, Edie, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Hope you can join next week. I'm gonna mark you down for attendance for next week. We'll see you. But thank you so much for everything. I thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. It always makes me feel good. I say that, and everybody probably goes, "What is he talking about?" But I say that to the people I work with too. Hey, I appreciate that you came and contributed and made it a little bit better. Let's see. I'm a mile from the Yellowstone River on I-90. I'm not. I'm a long way away from everybody. The only thing I'm not a long way from, and everybody's going to hate me when I say this, is the Pacific Ocean. I can see it from my front door. Whoops. I open the door and there it is. Every morning I get to see a nice view of the Pacific. And usually it's quite fantastic. All right, I'm gonna take some of my turquoise, and I'm going to put a little color on some of these feathers down here. All right, I don't want to color them, but I do want to separate them, if that makes any sense to anybody. Right, let's see, if I do this, so I don't like painting feathers. So I find every way I can to paint everything except for the feathers, which is what I'm doing now. It's just a little bit of negative painting. And if I get my negative painting just about right, what I end up with are the feathers that I didn't want to paint to begin with. And it works out fantastic. And I bet you can see, just with that little bit of color, a couple of brush strokes, all of a sudden I've just segregated all of these feathers from each other, and I didn't really do much of anything. And that makes me so happy that I'm able to do that. I mean, it really does. Once I got my mind around not painting the thing and just painting everything that's not that thing, oh my gosh, painting feathers became so much easier. So much easier. And so that's what I like to do. Let's see, and now I'm adding just a little bit of shadow onto some of these toes. Right, I want everybody to see that we have some toes here set aside. So just putting a little dark on here. I'm going to pick this up This is a very small area. I'm going to pick this up so you all can see this in just a second here. But I just need to get a little bit of shadowing on there. Look, so you can see that those toes are individual toes. Just a bit, just a tiny bit of color is all. My shadowing is probably all wrong here, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. The shadowing on many of my paintings is wrong, and I have yet to have anybody ever walk in and look at one of my paintings and go, "Oh, this would be great, but your shadow is kind of off. Something's odd about it." Nope, because people walk in and they look at it and go, "That's an interesting painting. There's interest in there." I'd rather have them say it's an interesting painting than anything else. So I took a road trip out west on I-90, stopped at Wallace Drugstore. Do I like Nirvana? I don't have a problem with Nirvana. So I don't know if you remember when Nirvana came out with whatever their big album was, the one with the baby that was swimming on it. I don't know what the name of that album. The album was just Nirvana, wasn't it? I don't remember the name of the album, but I went out and I bought it. I was like, cool, I'm going to get the Nirvana album. And then my version of the album was one of the, and I wish I still had it, but I don't, was one of the, I don't know how many thousand they put out that had the crazy 14 and a half minute extra bit on it. It was some weird psychedelic thing that was on it, and I remember putting it on the CD player and that coming on, and I'm going, what am I listening to? I don't understand what this is. It's just completely crazy. I'm not sure I like this, but I listened to it anyways. But I totally listened to it anyways. I like Nirvana. I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest grunge rock fan in the world, but I liked Nirvana. They were good. I had no problem with them. I'm not sure I had problems with any of them. It just wasn't specifically the stuff that I used to listen to quite as much as anything else. Let's see. Wallace Drugstore is about an hour east of Rapid City. Keep following I-90 through Wyoming and into Minnesota. Oh, you guys. I am also not a world traveler. So anywhere you guys are talking about, it's likely I've not been there. I am exceedingly, I talk with my team at work, this also, my team. I am completely contented where I'm at in life. I don't feel the need to, I don't have this giant wanderlust and feel the need to travel around or anything like that. And half of my team is like, I don't understand that. I hope this wasn't too long ago. Rose Bundy says I have to go, so keep having fun. Rose Bundy, thank you. Or Ross Bundy, thank you for joining. You're funny, and yeah, I love Pearl Jam more. You love Pearl Jam more. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think Pearl Jam might have been better. I don't know. I don't have any problem with either of them. I think at that point in time, I probably, if I'm being honest about the whole thing, I probably was listening to a lot more Red Hot Chili Peppers than I was ever any grunge band music. But that's okay. They're all good. Oh, you know what? I want some of this to be more orangier. I want some of this big to be more orangier, and I'm going to actually push some of this towards the red spectrum here. I'm going to mix these two on my palette a little bit. And I'm going to put this on here, being mostly careful not to get it into that black area. And then as we come back, I'm going to let it get more orange. As it comes back here, and then I'm going to actually dip into some of my, what is that? Gamboge, my new gamboge. I think it's important that I say new gamboge because old gamboge was fugitive and it was easy to put it on and then it would be kind of gone or not the same color the next time you looked at it. As soon as the sun hit it, it would kind of change. What's my favorite stuff for breakfast and fave for dinner? All right, so favorite all-time breakfast, hands down, without a doubt, Denver omelet. Not even close. I love a good Denver omelet. I love an omelet in general. I'm a huge egg person. Not a shock that I have 5 chickens, and right now I got 4 eggs today. I love myself a good egg dish. Fantastic. But I will say, I'm going to throw a big but out there. But if we're talking favorite cereal now, my favorite cereal is a little different now. Okay, so cool. Now there's a lot more color and a lot more going on this. Look, underneath here, it's got this kind of deep red bit. There's a little chunk out of it right there. This deep red bit, really a dark, hot orange out here. Blends back. I love the color blending here, and then it gets red back here again, and then lightens as it comes to the top. I'm digging that. I think that's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. But if we're talking strictly, what's my favorite cereal? I'm going to tell you, I am a big, and I will buy a box, and I'll sit down and I'll eat the whole box, and I'm not worried about anything. I don't care if it's 45,000 calories or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I love Boo Berry. Boo Berry is my favorite cereal. Only get it, at this point, can only get it at Halloween time. And that's a little distressing, but it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I've loved it since I was a tiny, tiny little kid. I will always love Boo Berry. Nothing better. This is not even a question. Don't bother to ask anybody. If they tell you anything different, they're wrong. That's just how it is. I love me some good Boo Berry. Okay, I got to do this, right? I need to. Is any of this wet? I need to paint in very lightly here. I'm going to negative paint in a couple of feathers here, right? I got to do it very lightly because I don't want to lose the lightness that's in here. But I want to get some of these feathers in. You can just see those. Just see those. That got a little out of the line there, but that's going to be okay. And I want to get a couple in this orangey area here. What is my favorite dinner, though? I might have to say a Denver omelet. I really do like omelets. What is my favorite dinner? Let's see. How am I going to do this? I'm going to go, let's see. Here. I'm just going to paint a couple things in here. What I'm hoping to do in this section is add a little bit of texture, right? We've got some feathers that are sticking out here. I don't want them to be in your face so much that you go, whoa, feathers right there. But I want something here that you're going to notice, right? And these ones are going back away from us. So these ones have to be a little steeper back here. So I'm going to put just a couple in back here too. And shoot, let's do this. Let's see if we can't round this out over here a little bit more. A little darker, a little bit more intense on this side. Help to round off his chest just a little bit. I'm going to do something similar with the white over here. Right? I'm going to draw a few lines on that, but I'm not necessarily going to I like that red in there. That red in there really, really looks nice and really helps add a little bit onto this. Takes away some of that oranginess without taking away too much of that oranginess, right? Ooh, and a little bit of red on each side really helps to set this down in there a little bit. But when it comes to food, oh, you love spaghetti. I'm a pretty simple eater. I don't like big fancy meals. I'm totally fine. Give me some really nicely steamed vegetables, right? A little something like that. A piece of fish, a piece of meat, something simple. I guess maybe just call it a simple protein or something like that. Sound like I'm on the Food Network or something like that now. But really, just something, anything like that, and I'm all for it. I don't need like fancy stuff. I don't necessarily think fancy food tastes or looks better or anything like that. I'm very simple. A lot of times I don't eat spaghetti as a noodle so much. But I really love a good fettuccine. Like, I love the feel of fettuccine in your mouth. I do it with a really simple butter and garlic sauce. And I think it's hard to beat. Although if you made a simple pesto sauce and put on there, that would be fantastic too. But nothing has to be, right? I think it's a lot easier to cook a hugely fancy meal, throw 45 spices in and do this and do that. Cool, I guess, right? Yeah, you threw a whole bunch of stuff in there and you kind of made something. Cool. That's a lot harder to take some simple ingredients, 3 or 4 simple ingredients, use those and make something that's really good. It's really hard to do that. And if you can do that, I'm going to bet you that's going to taste a lot better than something that, in my mind anyways, is much more complex. Simple is so much harder to do than complex. All right, I'm trying. And I will admit I got my colors on here a little thick at the moment. If Natalie were here, she would scold me for this. I'm trying to give the other side of this arm, right? So if you have something that's round, you can't just have a shadow on one side. You got to have a shadow on both sides of it. That's kind of how shadows work on round things. There we go. There it is. Something here. Spaghetti is fantastic. I will say, since I've moved to where I'm at now, I'm having a hard time finding a good pizza to eat. Um, Pizza is one of those things that I'm like, it's so simple. How can it be hard to make? It's like a good burger. Should be super simple, and people have a hard time doing it. So I'm looking for a good pizza around here still. It's only been 20 years and I'm still trying to find a good pizza place around here. We have several that are okay. And that's the problem. They're just kind of okay. But we don't have any that are really good that you go, that's it. I'm eating here. I want to go back time and time again. We just haven't gotten that. Spaghetti. So, Bluey, Mom, what's the sauce you're putting on your spaghetti? A simple bolognese, right? Are you doing like a carbonara? Are you doing some kind of a I don't know if I could think of what I was trying to say here. Some kind of a pesto. I used to make homemade pizza with my sons when we were growing up. Oh, homemade pizza. My youngest loves to make homemade pizza. It's fun. It's fun. Homemade pizza is fun, has been fun, will always be fun. There's nothing not fun about making a homemade pizza. It's fantastic. Okay, I think this guy's starting to come together. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I think he's starting to come together. Bolognese, yeah, a simple bolognese. Okay, there you go. Yep, always good. Will never not be good. Will never not be. I'm looking at this, and you know what I'm thinking? As I'm looking at this, what I'm thinking is I need to darken my shadows underneath here. So I'm going to hang tight. I'm going in for another round under here. I want to darken this up. I'm gonna pull this out a bit more further. Okay, good. I like it. I like where it's going. I got to do something to get a little bit of texture into the I gotta wait on that. I gotta line like his head, his neck. I drew a line there, and I'm not sure I want to continue with it, but I like that a little bit deeper in there. Maybe I'm gonna do the same. I like clams in your sauce. No. Vonda says, I made homemade spaghetti sauce with canned tomatoes from the garden. So good. Oh, I bet. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Whoa. The one thing I cannot manage to grow here with any regularity are tomatoes, and it saddens me. But I'll tell you the one thing I could grow, and I grew them in great quantities, and I made my own. Not kimchi, sauerkraut with it. I could grow cabbage here like you wouldn't believe. It would just grew like a weed. And it was fantastic. Do I like nachos? Yes, love nachos. Nachos are great. I do not like guacamole. However, people think that's a bit weird. But I'm sorry, avocados are gross. They just are. We have an avocado tree in our yard, and the kids would set up a stand and sell them, and everybody would come by and go, "Oh, these are so good! These are so good!" And I was like, yeah, I'll take your word for it. I don't have any idea because I will never eat them because they're disgusting. They're green eggs, and I don't like green eggs. I love avocados and bacon and eggs together. No. Oh, I can't do it. Okay, so cool. So look, it's not in the broad scheme of things, right? This is not the biggest deal, but a little bit of feather work here. It's not even much. I mean, really, if you look at it, it's not much at all. Maybe a couple of other marks in here, something, not much, but it's just enough to break up that whole thing, to give the viewers the impression that there's more going on here than there is going on, right? We don't have to have everything right. We just have to have a few things on here that are going to give the impression of some other things. And when we put those on there, then who's ever viewing this is going to, on their own, start to fill in some gaps and go, oh, this should look like that, or this should, have this mark there, or that mark there, or there. I can just imagine that there are all these feathers on here, and they're not really there, right? And a couple of marks on the top of his head up here, just in a couple of places. I'm gonna ever so slightly put this line right through his eye that way. Cool. Let's see, where else do I need to put some darker colors? I like the wing. I think I could do a little bit darker on the wing, even through here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to try to be a little bit brave. And I'm going to make the top of this wing a little bit darker, round off this dark area a little bit. And now now that I've got that color on there, I can kind of push it around however I want it to be on here. And in this case, I'm going to push it up. Of course, this doesn't help to explain it because I have it upside down. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for confusing everybody with everything you're doing. But there you go. You get the idea of what I'm doing. If I had it turned the right way around at all. And so hopefully now you're going to see some roundness to the body of this wing. I need to continue to push this up just ever so slightly. But by having that dark edge to this, it should come on, give me some of this other color. There. Okay, cool. Now I should have just been able to set that whole wing off. Yes. Set that whole wing off. There's hardly a hard line in there, right? There might just be one just ever so slightly up in here, but there's hardly a hard edge there. Almost not one at all. There. And we've got this beautiful dark area around the center of that wing that's all alighted. Is that a better way to say? Is that how you say that? I'm not sure how I say that. It's all a bit more illuminated we leave that light area there. That light area is really what is setting off the darker areas. That's even better. I close that down a little bit. That's much better. It looks better to me. Oh, guacamole. Oh, I don't even want to talk about guacamole. I'm gonna ban guacamole talk from this channel. Guacamole. The Super Bowl is like the worst time of year because everybody wants guacamole. Everybody wants guacamole. Yep, not for me. I may have assimilated to being a Californian, but California doesn't want me because of my hatred of guacamole. They're not willing to fully accept me until I accept guacamole, and I'm not ready to do that. All right, I'm looking at things that still need to be done. There are little things that still need to be done, and I'm trying to find a few of those. This is one of them, and this is a weird area here, but we've got 3 things going on here, and I think if I do this, nobody's going to say boo about it. It's going to look a little funny, but nobody's going to say boo about it. We've got this arm that needs to be in front. Then we've got the shin that needs to be kind of under the thigh, but both of them need to be behind this arm, and they both need to be separate from each other. So we got a couple of different things we're working with there to try and make that kind of right. But I think, right, I think as we're going through this, you know, you could give a couple of marks here and there. Right, maybe there's some weird skin stuff going on there. I'm gonna come back. I think I can do a little bit around his neck right there right now. Okay, cool. I'm just going to blend this out just. Cool. I like that. Well, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like about this painting. I don't want to get my. Do not want to get my gouache out. So I'm going to hope that the old gel pen. Come on, gel pen. Thanks for working with me, gel pen. You'll work on the practice sheet, but you won't work on here. There we go. Sometimes you got to give it a second to work. A couple of highlights on here. Maybe 1 or 2 out on his snout out there. What would you tell your younger self? Be more courageous. That's easy. Don't settle. Be more courageous. There's not a lot bad that's going to be that will happen in most of my life. I just have to have the faith in myself that things will go right. And I think that's probably some advice I could take for myself right now. I think we all fall into the category where there's more that we could do or we could have done, or, you know, at least say fortune favors the brave, and sometimes we're not always that brave, and maybe we should have been. All right, I'm putting just some knuckles on here, some highlighting, highlighting some knuckles and maybe a little bit of shiny bits on there. I don't necessarily know if any of these parts should be shiny or not. Probably they shouldn't be, but that's okay. That's okay. I do want to get a different pen, though. All of a sudden, this pen has been so good for so long, and it looks like it's got plenty of ink in it. Sometimes it doesn't like to write. sometimes. All right, there we go. I think if I were going to do this on a Saturday or something, I would take the time and do the background. I would do everything else, but you know what? I'm going to do one last thing, and that's put a little bit of color over top of this. That seems too light to me. It just seems too light to me. That seems a little too dark. So I've already drawn my feathers on there. I just need to darken these up a little bit underneath here. Whew. Give me a little bit of a different color in here. Doesn't need to be all the same color underneath there. But I think we're getting pretty close, and I'm going to do a little bit of my own self-assessment here on this. As an exercise, I really like to do that. And I feel a little bad about it. That's a little better. I like that a little bit darker underneath there. I like that a little bit darker. I think it looks a little bit better, a little bit darker. I do. I think it looks a little better, a little bit darker. I'm kind of okay with it. I don't know that that's exactly what I wanted, but I'm okay with it. And you can still see the individual feathers there. All right, maybe I'm not quite done. I thought I was done. I'm not. I keep looking and I get pulled in to do one more thing and one more thing and one more thing. I'm going to be done in a second, though. And then we'll do a little self-assessment. I was going to say, I really think the self-assessment is very important. I do. I wish everybody would do a bit more of a self-assessment. It's difficult because you want to be hard on yourself, but you need to have the understanding that a painting has a life of its own, and it may not have the life that you always thought it should have. And so you can only be hard on yourself up to a certain point. You do have to allow yourself a little bit of grace, because there's so much that can go wrong, and paintings take on a life of their own. But before I do anything else, I'm going to sign it right here. Done. So I really like the general look of this bird. But I like this. I like this bird in general. right? I do. I think the Kingfisher is a fantastic bird, regardless of what I do to it to make it into anything but a Kingfisher. I want to give a little bit of something right here without trying to ruin it. I think I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm gonna live with that. This is gonna be another one of those paintings that I'm gonna look at from time to time, and I'm gonna giggle when I see it. I'm gonna go, oh my God, I actually crossed a frog with a Kingfisher, and I came out with something that looks kind of cool. And for me, that's enough. If I hang this on the wall in my office and people walk past, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, what in the world is that? Or actually, I hope they look at it and they go, that's interesting. That's cool, right? They'll look at it. That's interesting. That's cool. I love the color. I love the look. That's great. And then they're going to go, hold on a minute. It's got 4 legs. Why does this thing have 4 legs? I don't understand. And then they're going to go, wait a minute. hold on a second, they're green, it's a frog. And to me, that's part of making some cool artwork, is making something that people are going to look at and ask questions about and have some fun with. That's kind of the direction I've taken a lot of my artwork recently, and I hope nobody's offended by it, because I think it's hysterical. It makes me feel good inside to paint something that is people are going to question a little bit. A Kingfisher. Okay, a Kingfisher. I like it. Okay, Kingfisher. I like that. I like the wing here, right? It's got that lighter bit in the center. It gets darker to the outside. The darks, if you can see them, there's still enough detail if you get up close to it. There's just some subtle details in here, up on the head, right? A dot or two of color. There doesn't have to be a million things about this and beat you over the head with details. If it's got just enough that you're going to look at it and you're going to go, interesting, then sometimes that's enough. And for me, this fits the bill for that, right? So I think the eye is okay. Probably I should have done a little extra shading around the eye, but that black line helps me. The black line around the inside of that eye helps me with that. It breaks up the circle on the outside of the eye from the eye itself. I love the orange here, right? Fiery reddish orange, lighter, more red over here, and then really light up here. It's a nice detail. Same thing down here. I love the transition of color from this brighter red into a lighter yellow and back into this fiery orange over here. I love stuff like that in watercolors. When you look at it, you just go, okay, that's got some interest to it. And again, it doesn't have to be technically correct. It doesn't have to be, super relevant for anything. As long as it's got some interest to it, for me, that means a lot. And I think this painting has some interest to it. Do a Schnauzer golden tabby. Oh my God, golden tabby cat. I've got some other ones that I'm working on. I'll consider that. I've got a snail over here that I'm working on that has its own camper shell. So like it's hauling around, instead of a shell, it's a camper, a cab over camper on the back of it. I've still got my aliens to paint. I've got a lot of things coming up, but I will say, if you all have any interest in seeing something, put it down below in the comments. Write it down below. I'll see it, and I will consider doing it. I like doing stuff you guys like to see, because if it's fun for you, it's fun for me, and I just enjoy the painting. I think that's all I have for you this week. I'm going to call it here. I hope you all had a wonderful time with me on this Watercolor Wednesday. I know I had a great time doing this. I hope that you all have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And more than anything, I hope you're able to join me back here when we do this all over again next week. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.